How's it going, everyone? It's been a while since I've unboxed an S.H.Figuarts or Dragon Ball action figure, so what better way to go back to it with Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku. Now, before I actually take out the figure, I'm just going to say I'm actually not that familiar with Super Saiyan 4 Goku. I haven't seen Dragon Ball GT anime. I'm kind of a casual Dragon Ball fan, for lack of a better term, but it's the only series that I haven't seen. But I am familiar with the character design. I've seen pictures and stuff of it over the years, so I know what it looks like, but I just don't know the story details behind it. Dragon Ball GT typically wasn't considered canon as far as Dragon Ball canon goes. I think it may be now. I'm not even 100% sure because I feel like they change their mind every few seconds, or they're just kind of like question marks around it. But yeah, I have not seen Dragon Ball GT. So if there's any inaccuracies with the character or something's not particularly right with this character or the way this character has turned out, well, leave a comment down below and let me know. But otherwise, I'm just going to go by what I'm seeing and what I'm kind of familiar with, which is pretty much, yeah, what I'm seeing, really. But otherwise, this is the packaging. It's pretty much on point with all the other Dragon Ball figures that S.H.Figuarts have released in the recent years. You can see Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku right there as well. Of course, obviously, it's another Goku, so people might be a little bit fed up with that. But at the same time, we haven't had a Super Saiyan 4 Goku before in S.H.Figuarts, so a lot of fans have been very, very excited and looking forward to this particular version of Goku. And it looks pretty good so far. He's a little bit stocky inside, but once we get him out of the packaging and get him articulated, he'll probably look awesome. So just like here, for example. So yeah, we're going to take him open or take him out of the packaging and go through all the other option parts that we can see there. So here we've got Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku out of the box. I'm going to go through the parts first and then we'll go through the figure. By the way, it is chucking it down with rain quite a bit, so you might hear that or my voice being a little bit muffled in this video. So let's get to the parts. So we come to quite a few different hand parts, some face parts, and then the colored pink version of his Kamehameha, which we'll go through at the end. So first with the hands, he's got one pair of additional battle hands, or one of the battle hands he's got. So by the way, he's got the fists already attached to him. And then here are the battle hands that you pretty much typically would see with, I guess, most Goku figures at this point in time. I think almost every Goku figure has this pair of hands. It's been a while since I've handled a Goku figure, but I feel these are a little tiny bit, a fraction bit bigger, just because this Super Saiyan 4 Goku is a little bit on the chunkier side as well. And for me, the fingers as well, not just with these hands, the other hands as well, the fingers have a little bit more flex to them, which kind of makes me worry a little bit, but they've been fine for me so far. Obviously, one of the other main differences with these hands that this Goku comes with is that he's got the furry hands at the back there, on the back of the hands in pink. And then the other battle pair of hands that he comes with is going to be with the two fingers pointed up like so. So this, again, is very popular that Goku comes with. Most regular Goku figures would come with this pair of hands as well. And then he comes with a pair of hands with open palms. So again, this kind of might show actually how big his hands are. Usually, then I just don't feel his hands are this big, and that's okay. I really do think it's because Super Saiyan 4 Goku is a bit on the chunkier side. Again, all hands have the little fur on the back side of the hand, and then you've got another pair of hands, which is scrunchy hands, like so. Goku always comes with these two. Once again, the fingers do flex a little bit for me. They're not damaging. They're not going to damage so far right now, but I do get a little bit paranoid with it. And finally, you get one again with scrunchy hands. But this one you can use to actually hold the Kamehameha. So if you recall, say, one of the Gokus from way back, or Goku Black, that kind of comes to my mind straight away, he didn't have these. You just kind of had to use the regular version without the peg, for example, that we've also got. But this one does have one with the peg in both hands. And you can use either hand to actually attach to that, which I'll show you later on as well. It's handy because I think it was maybe a little bit on the awkward side to have the Goku figure beforehand hold this without it falling off. Still a bit awkward, but we'll get into that in just a moment. In terms of faces, then he's got the neutral. Expression already attached to him by default, which is just looking straight ahead, which looks good, by the way, which we'll show you later as well. And then he comes with an additional one, which is him yelling, like so, mouth open. This is really nice. All of his heads, I feel, are sculpted and painted really, really nicely. The eyeliner down there in pink, very nice. The pupils in a nice orange. Some might say a bit yellow. I think they're orange to me. Really nice. The kind of scrunchy wrinkles on his eyebrows or above on his forehead. Very good. The eyebrows are done nicely. This head sculpt is perfect in my opinion. It looks very, very good. You know, again, I'm not that familiar with the character, but I like what they've done there. Similar kind of quality with this face as well. So you've got scrunching teeth, but this time he's looking slightly off center and upwards just a bit. So you don't get any articulated eyes with this particular figure, which is okay as well. So you've got four total heads to work with, but it's fine. He's got nice big ears too. All the sculpt is again top quality here, and then the finish is top quality as well. Personal opinion, Some people might complain because something's off slightly in terms of character likeness, but for me this looks super good. And once again, you got this kind of smirk. This is probably one of my favorite faces for this particular figure. I just love this smirk. Very kind of Vegeta-esque in that arrogance, but this time for Goku and Super Saiyan 4. But once again, you got the eyeliner and then the orange pupils, as well as those clean eyebrows there with the extra lines. I'm going to call them Adidas eyebrows. But yeah, they're very, very nice head sculpts there. This one is probably the weakest one, but it's not bad. It's just weak in terms of, it's kind of neutral, right? Then finally, for the option parts, then you've got the Kamehameha in a pink. Now, apologies if the pink on this figure comes off a little bit different. I'm still getting used to this camera that I'm using, so the colors might be a little bit different to what you might experience in real life. But we'll get into that description a bit later. But this Kamehameha is a kind of hot pink-ish with some translucency to the kind of beam parts coming off of it as well. You have to, by the way, assemble this once you get this out of the box. There's going to be the sphere bit there, and each kind of beam you got to assemble. One is already up, and I'll show you that here in the slot that is not kind of complete. So just like with Goku Black, you have each beam comes with a slightly different kind of end bit here. You can see the shape right there. All you got to do is find the corresponding slot on the sphere and then slot it in. Because it's kind of very smooth finish, I feel like it gets a little bit slippery, and then they kind of come up and it gets a little bit annoying afterwards, especially if they keep coming out. But so far it's okay. Then you've got one final slot there, and that's going to be for the hand, and I'll just do that right now actually. So you can kind of play around with how you want the hand to be positioned, whether you want the beams positioned in between certain fingertips or not. That's really up to you. I'm going to just leave it like so it's there, and then you can just swap the hand later on as well. Once you do swap the hand, like I said, it can be a little bit fiddly because the beams end up coming off, and then you have to keep putting them back on. Then we come on to the actual figure itself, which is awesome. That's the short of it. So actually, yeah, it's awesome. It's really, really awesome. So as I just touched on earlier on, apologies if the colors of this particular video are a little bit off. I'm still trying to get used to the camera on this one and the way it produces the colors on this. But in terms of having this Super Saiyan 4 Goku in front of me, the pinks, I would say, is kind of like a fuchsia pink. Some people might say magenta. I think it's the same thing. Hot pink, maybe not quite as hot pink, but kind of going it. To me, fuchsia pink is the best way to describe it. But I think this kind of color, different people perceive it a little bit differently. Yeah, individual kind of perception based, I suppose. But it looks nice. It's very, very vibrant. But in the video, it might come across as more on a reddish tone, which is going to be a little bit inaccurate. It's definitely not like that in person, and it might make it look like a bootleg. I assure you, this is a legit copy of this figure. So that's the main kind of color thing out of the way. That color pit actually may also be affecting his pants as well, which are more of a mustard color, but they may turn out to be a little bit more on the darker side in the video. I hope not. I hope I'm just wasting my breath there, but who knows? Well, I'll find out later, right? But otherwise, in terms of sculpt and color, for me personally, the figure looks very good. It looks quite like what I've seen on the pictures of Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku. Like I said, I've not seen Dragon Ball GT, so I'm not that familiar with this character overall. And then sculpt wise, he's really, really nicely done as well. So here we got the big, massive, typical Super Saiyan hair going on there. Very, very nicely done. It's awesome. It's so awesome. Of course, there's so many spikes going on, so be careful when you handle it so you don't prick your fingers or anything like that. It's not too bad. There's a little bit of flex, like a really minimal amount of flex to the bigger spikes here, the bigger chunks. And then he's got more flex down on these little bits here. Some of the hair pieces can articulate, which we'll go into in just a moment. But in terms of looks, the hair is looking super fly. Love the way that looks. The arms, by the way, in terms of that ape-like texture or whatever kind of fur you want to refer to it as, he's got that all the way through the arms. And not just the arms, the joints themselves. You can see on the shoulder bit there, and then the elbow bit here have been textured as well on the outer part, not so much the inner part, even though it's still there. That's awesome. I didn't expect them to bother going to that length of detail to actually texture the joint parts, which is just really, really good. Speaking of joints though, the the wrist joint is also in a bright pink. That's awesome as well, but I would have preferred also, this is just an addition, if they provided extra pieces for the wrist, just because it's a unique color that you're not really going to find anywhere else, and that's just going to be a hassle. It's better to provide those in the box so people don't have to kind of get the correct color and paint it themselves or something like that. So it's just because this is a unique color, I think it's better to kind of provide that in pack. Moving down towards his pants, really nicely sculpted as well. Pretty much what you would expect with a Goku figure at this point, or any other Dragon Ball figure that wears baggy pants. Pretty much what you'd expect in terms of sculpting and definition. All of that is good. Paint's good as well. Nice kind of shading going on there. Like I said, the mustard kind of painting. Going back to the mid bit, by the way, we've got a sash here, which is just a plastic ring there. It doesn't break off or anything. If you pull him off, you can remove that if you want to. And then you've got the kind of ankle sash or calf sash down there in blue, same color. And then with his little shoes, which aren't anything special, to be quite honest. They're pretty basic as far as footwear goes. But otherwise, a very good looking figure. By the way, the tail, of course, is also textured fully throughout. The tail, you've got to assemble onto this little ball peg here. Simple to do. But again, hopefully, or I would have hoped they would have provided a spare joint because of the unique color. But in terms of sculpt, finish, paint, this figure does look very, very good. Articulation wise, it's pretty much what you would expect with Dragon Ball Figuarts, Goku figures especially. So you might get some hindrances here and there because of the kind of chunkier size of this figure, but here we can see the head articulation is actually pretty good. When you get him to look down though, the face might get misaligned, and then you're going to have to straighten that up. Best way to straighten that up is actually to remove the bangs, fix the face plate again, and then replace the bangs just so he looks better. So I'll show you that again. You can see how the face comes off if you get him to look down too much. It's awkward, but it makes sense, and it's better to do this rather than sacrificing him so he only looks like he can only move down that much, which is not a lot, to be quite honest. So it's not bad in my opinion. I think it was just a sacrifice that I had to make, and fixing it back again is perfectly fine. So you've got that kind of range of motion still accessible to you if you wanted to have him looking down. So perfectly fine for me. You've got little articulated points on certain parts of the hair. So you've got this section here as well, and then these two back sections you can see on little joints or little ball joints here. Hopefully I can show you that underneath right there. What I'm going to actually do, just to show you how that looks and remove the face, the whole hairpiece is on that single pink joint. You can see this. So it's a bit freaky looking, to be quite honest, but you're not really going to see that otherwise. So it's, yeah, it's quite cool if I do say so myself. I think it's very interesting to see it that way. I'm going to leave him there like that. With the shoulders though, you've got the joint inside there going towards the chest piece from both sides, and you can twist his arm all the way around and then up, and then bring it forward as well. So he's got very good range of motion when it comes to the shoulder. You've got the twist there, the bend. Like I said, the joints are textured on the shoulder and the elbow, which is really cool. And then finishing off with the wrist here. By the way, the cuffs, I feel they are actually sculpted fully on. They're not removable, so that's cool. You shouldn't lose those. But the torso here, upper torso like so, backwards, oops, and then that can sometimes happen. I feel, actually speaking of, I feel there's a little bit of a shallow gap there, and that's probably why he comes off a little bit easily there. I was a bit rough there actually, to be honest, but generally speaking it should be okay. And then you can see with the lower kind of articulation, it should be allowing him to do some pretty good poses there and deep poses. Legs are pretty much what you would expect with other Goku figures as well. I think it's exactly the same as the last Goku figure that has come out. So you either love that or you hate it, I guess. Maybe with the knee you think it looks a little bit too chunky. I actually think it looks not too bad. I think it's okay on the side view. Maybe front view it looks a little bit kind of unclean, but I think, you know, you can't get it perfect with the kind of pants that he's wearing. But it's got a perfectly good range of motion with that kind of stuff, with the baggy pants here. And then finally you've got the ankle pivot rocker and all of that good stuff. Since I've already taken his faceplate off, let's go back and change it to something else. I'm going to do it with the open mouth here. So you just got to plug this back into the hair piece really, because it's just a big hunk of hair, and then replace the front bangs as well. As I said, though, just be careful not to prick your hands too badly on the spikes of his hair. Should be okay. Just again, be careful, not be careful, but just be aware that, remember, if he looks down too much then the faceplate does misalign, so you're gonna have to fix that so you don't get any weird kind of thing. I've got that right there, for example. So just take off the bangs and fix the faceplate. Very easy to do, but you might get fed up with it over time as well. When it comes to changing hands, it's the same as other Dragon Ball figures as well. Just pull off the hand at the joint and then get it for the other one. I'm going to change actually for the hand of, let's do the battle hand. This kind of pose here, why not? Let's do that and then plug that in. And because the fingers do flex a bit, that's where I get paranoid, because when you're changing hands, you kind of end up putting a little pressure on the fingers. So that's why I get paranoid when it comes to changing hands. So really, that's all there is to swapping parts with this Goku. Of course, it comes with additional hands. They're going to swap the same way. And similarly for the face, they will swap the same way as well. Obviously, you've got the Kamehameha that you can use as well. Just attach this hand to whichever one that you want. I've got the left hand on already. And then just kind of get him into a pose holding or shooting the Kamehameha as you would with any other Goku figure. Now this figure is a little bit light when it comes to the option part, but I think in terms of what the character has been shown in the Dragon Ball GT anime and how it's been depicted, it's probably fine, and it's probably suitable to just have the bevy of option hand parts, the faceplates, and then the pink Kamehameha, which is fine in my opinion. I think it works fine as well. Once again, I haven't seen the Dragon Ball GT anime, so I'm not familiar with the character in terms of what else he could have, but I think this character has turned out well as an S.H.Figuarts figure. It stands out quite well thanks to not only his Super Saiyan hair, the big hair, but mainly of course because of his pink ape-like arms and the tail as well. So just this whole look of SSJ4 is really good and is captured nicely in this figure as well. I think some S.H.Figuarts Dragon Ball fans can be very picky and very intolerant of certain things. I'm not like that. I think this is a very good figure and I would still recommend checking it out. I really love the faceplates on this as well. Really turned out nicely and very clean. If you like this, check out my channel for more action figure unboxings and videos. Otherwise, stay safe and I'll see you in the next one.